You there thinking about a booby titties. That time she's texting another, and we see it in all the small little things. She's busy laughing at her phone, all snickery in front of you, like, ooh, what? And she's like, no, nothing. Like, I know that sound. When I do that thing in bed, you make that sound, and now you're doing that to your phone, and you're telling me it's nothing. But Goodwood should.
He said when I'm in bed.
Ayo, culture.
Yeah, man, but it's good to see you, brother. It's good to see you back. It's good. I know. Hey, look, man, life happens, bro. Life happens.
Hey, bro. Hey, man, you know, a lot of the time when you catch us over those late nights, we're busy living life, bro. But now I'm here.
Yeah. You know, it's good to come and see your therapists once in a while. And I say therapists.
I don't know about having stay as a therapist, though. No, I'm kidding, but
yeah, man. By the way, happy, not happy. I don't know if we call it happy, but happy mental health month. So yeah, so it's like it's one of those things, guys. Just take into consideration and your mental health. It's really important, you know, especially in this day and age with our economy and everything and the pressures of life. You know, just be a way to take care of your mental health. And yeah. Speak, guys, fellas, speak out, men, speak out. It's time your voices be heard. You know. So yeah, happy mental health month, fellas. You know how it is. Yeah. But anyway, thanks guys for coming through. Sorry for the delay, Bo. I did apologize to the others for the delay, but it's all good in the hood. Before I become rude again like last time, I must actually say what's up to the subscribers, guys, before we start. Yeah, man. You know, welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Big Cave Sessions, episode 11. Oh wow, it's growing. Yeah, the consistency is there. But yeah, guys, if you haven't already, kindly like and subscribe to the channel for more content. And yeah, man, let's get to it, guys. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for once again. Let's hit it, man. Let's hit this one out the park, you know. But yeah, we keep going. I want to thank you guys personally for all the growth, right? For all the growth, for the, you know, I'm looking at the algorithms and the numbers. It is growing, you know what I mean? And I look at the last the video we did with Bo, and that's like for me out of my content, the like highest viewed video, you know. But you know, let's keep it going. Let's just keep it going. Let's get the word out. Let's have conversations, you know what I mean? So yeah, guys, fellas, yeah, let's get to it. Any words?
Now we're proud, bro. You're pushing. Now we're proud of you, man. And always an honor to trade blows, especially with Mr. King over there. We got Stay over there. It's just good, man. Like there are important topics to cover, so it's just good, man.
Yeah, for sure. I think the ladies will come in just in a bit. They are busy with other stuff at the moment, but I think during the time they will be able to come through and join us. But for now, let's get it going, you know. But I wanted to do something a bit different. Oh, guys, it's like literally an army coming through. Ben is also in the mix. Oh.
More the merrier. Let's go.
The more the merrier. Let's go. So just in a nutshell, want to do this a bit differently. Want to focus on a little bit of trending topics that you guys have probably heard over the internet or wherever. And let's hear your take on it, because it's been a while since we've all discussed the dynamics compared to the last video we did. So in that respect, you know, I want to touch on two trending topics. It was trending. I don't think it's trending now, but it's still something that is being spoken of. I want to touch on Johnny Depp's victory, man. You know, what does it mean for you guys, and what does it mean for society as a whole after the, you know, we saw. I don't know if you guys have been following the case or followed the case. What up, Benzo?
Hey fam, what's going on? Oh, sorry, no one told me my video was off.
No stress, my G. No stress.
And
yo, what's good?
Are your trades off? Because you wanna get in trouble.
Nah, actually. Let me kill them. Plus, the spike is killing me, fam.
The one that just happened now, yeah. Let it ride, but it's gonna go up. It's going up. Go on.
Oh yeah, no. Then I'm alright. I'm alright.
Yeah.
Make
So
sure
so
you
so Benzo, what's up, man? Are you good? Are you well? Are you healthy?
I'm healthy, fam. I'm healthy. Sorry, I was a bit late. I'm just gonna actually also turn my video off to work on lighting, but I'm here, fam. Please continue. Sorry.
Got you. So, fellas, that being said, man, I want to hear you guys' take. I mean, because look at what happened with Johnny Depp coming off victorious. You know, and look, in my opinion, you know, it is a lot of change for him. You can't really damage what has been damaged. You can't undamage what's been damaged already. So I want to hear you guys what you think about this and how does it change the dynamic of movements that are, you know, trying to protect the people that are really going through this issue. So yeah, I want to hear you guys.
Unfortunately, nothing's gonna change, I believe, in terms of the actual participation in relation with the other species, the other gender. Yes, for us, it's a win. As men, yeah, we won. Kevin Samuels, rest in peace. But Johnny Depp won. Yay! You know, but that's as far as it goes for us, unfortunately, as the lesser species on planet Earth. I say this because, you know, I've paid attention to how, you know, things like this that do happen, where like a victory for men in general amongst the popular people, celebrities, and every time it happens, it just gets blown over. Fine, it trended for a short while, but after some time, it just gets blown over. Then it happens again. So in terms of a bigger scale in society, as you're asking,
Yeah.
well, it's a win, but it's gonna keep happening, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I just hope men become sharper to the fact, which they have. You know, there's more information out there to protect men from ending up in situations like this. Like the other day, 2 days ago, I discovered some guy, Chisha Z. And then he was speaking about so he just like watches content and then he comments on the content. And the one that I shared with Alfred was about how men, you know, how like when a divorce happens, they lose everything. Or like a man can work his life off for his dream, for his business, for his life. And a woman can just decide whenever the hell she wants to, like, look, I don't want to be here anymore. Be out and take half of everything a man's earned. Unfortunately for people, my opinion, that's wrong. And I just ain't gonna allow that to happen to me at least. And I'm glad there's more information out there warning guys. But this winner for Johnny Depp, yeah, it's good for men. But society, are they gonna adapt with it? I don't think so.
I think also like what I want to add on that is as much as it's a win for Johnny Depp and like him versus Amber, yes, it's a win. But at the end of the day, his image is tainted anyway, you know. He's not going to be viewed the same way that he used to be viewed, regardless of having been, you know, acquitted and all those things. Like you're not going to get the same vibes as a casting director or a producer hiring Johnny Depp. You're just always going to have that at the back of your mind, you know. So as much as it's a personal victory between him and Amber, there's always going to be that monkey on his back, you know. And as Stella already said, like society-wise, is it a victory? We don't know. We can only see that in the long term, right? We're only going to see that if we have more cases and more victories like this, right? And at the end of the day, the only people who really know every single detail of what happened is those two people, right? So as much as certain things were disproved in court, Johnny Depp knows what he is guilty for. Amber Heard also knows what she's guilty for. So that's the kind of stuff we also need to take into consideration. That, you know, yes, victory, but there's only so much that we are privileged to know. about the dynamics between the two. And that goes for all relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from a media's perspective, it's probably not over, specifically considering the fact that it's more than just Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It's newspapers, it's media companies, and they're all looking for the next big breaking news. They're all looking to, push their own agenda going forward. And so when you add all of these, influencing factors all into one bowl, then yeah, it's not the end. You're still going to have an unfair situation going forward. The media is far from being woke or taking a fair side, or going the right way, whatever right way that is, according to our opinion. Whatever sells news, whatever sells newspapers, whatever gets people to view, that's what we're going to keep focusing on at the end of the day. I think that's the mentality, especially from an American television perspective, in which case American television is broadcast to the entire world, right? So from a media's perspective, it's very hard to tell, but I think we can all express the sentiment or the hope that in real life, like where there isn't any big cameras, like if a normal ordinary guy goes to court tomorrow and they're not famous and they're not going to have cameras, they're not going to have big media coverage following their case, we can only hope that the judge makes the right decision, or the lawyer or whoever's involved can take from this situation and actually make the right decisions going forward. But from a media's perspective, I doubt it. And that's probably cynical, but I do doubt it.
All right. Ben, before you go in, guys, somebody's sound has feedback. I don't know if you're hearing it too.
I'm hearing it.
It's Stay. I think Stay. I'm seeing it because your light is shining every time. But just check if your volume is a bit well there. Cool. Sorry, man. I not. Can you hear us though?
I can hear you. And now, what about now?
Yeah, it's a bit.
It's quiet now.
It's quieter now. Yeah, it's good.
No, it's still there
No,
actually.
there's no feedback, yeah.
Still there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll help if we all mute when we speak. Thanks, Bo. Thanks for putting that in right there.
Let's try it now.
Yeah. All right, Ben, you can go in. We'll mute. All right.
Yeah, no, on my side, it's just, I don't think, it takes a lot more to sway things in terms of the law especially, but it has set a precedent now. So at least now there's like a reference point, like a more contemporary reference point, as opposed to these lawyers and attorneys referencing previous cases from donkeys years ago. This case is more a reflection and is more suited to act as precedent for where we are now and the times we're in. So it's a good victory in that sense. But in terms of like pop culture and all this other nonsense, it's just bragging rights for the next few weeks, if not days, and then it's pretty much done, man. But yeah, that's me.
I wanted to sorry guys, I wanted to allude to the consequential side of this, and I get what you guys, I get all your points, and that, it's very, very true. It does kind of put a notch on, on certain society's belts, but it doesn't change that this won't happen again. But at the same time, there should be we're looking at the consequences to doing things like this. Now, I wanted to ask you and allude to this and say, should there, and what kind of consequences should they be? I'm not saying put the person away for life. You know what I mean? But dishonesty is dishonesty. If you lie, if you look, and the thing is, and going back to Bo's statement, is that, yes, both parties should be held accountable. But it looks like one party was accountable and the other one wasn't, and still to this day will not be accountable for what she did. And even her lawyer is on the same type of wavelength as her. So now in that case, is that, shouldn't there be consequences to lying like this? Should they be, what should happen? Because at the end of the day, look, I give big ups to Warner Brothers, who who told her that she won't be doing Aquaman 2. So, that's another thing to take into consideration. It's a good victory, yes, of course, because the consequences should be equal to everybody. But what should really happen here in this situation when it comes to consequences? When people lie on you, what do we look at here?
Can I just jump in first? And I know we're probably going to give some suitable solutions and all. Let me start off by sharing my skepticism just with the idea of consequences, because I really feel like the law probably covers what we're talking about. False testimony is what they will call it in the court. There's a penalty for that, right? There's a penalty for most crimes. It's all written down in paper. But here's where my skepticism comes in, is the fact that the law is black and white, but the law is not so consistent, right? So we know it's not even a hating thing. It's not even a blanket statement or a general statement without any evidence. We know that there are people who get away with doing certain crimes or serve the lesser penalty because they have this status, or because they have this much money, or because they have this lawyer, right? And so we can talk about, what are the solutions, and, we can either send them to jail, or we can fine them probation, or we can, whatever the case may be. There are also social consequences. They're probably going to be canceled on social media. Whatever reputation they used to have within their workplace, they've automatically lost that. So either way, even if the law does not get involved, there are still life and probably career consequences, to doing this thing. But again, I'm skeptical, because if I have $1 million, 9 times out of 10, I can either get away with my action, or I can pay less of a penalty, which again, we look at the law in that regard. And, I look at the law at least, and I think to myself, okay, maybe that's not so consistent. If it was a regular Joe, again, I draw a contrast between media and just normal everyday people. If it's a regular person going through this, they probably go through far worse than what Amber Heard is going to go through right now, just because she's Amber Heard. So what are we to say about that, gentlemen?
Yeah,
I doubt. Oh, sorry. I don't agree with that last part. I think it's the other way around. I feel like someone as high up as Amber, like someone who's in that bracket of, that earning potential, I feel like they would pay more of a consequence than someone on our, sorry, not to group us in the, but us simpletons. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a criminal lawsuit from my understanding. It's just a civil, or whatever they call it. Meaning, I mean, the consequence can only go so far. It can only hit the pocket. And who's going to suffer more in that case? Is it me per se with my limited assets and whatever? Or is it a Amber Heard whose earning potential was projected to be in the 40 to 50 million that she's now obviously not going to be able to attain? So criminal consequences in this case, I don't think there is any argument for that, because at the end of the day, it wasn't a criminal case. I mean, what do you charge her for then?
No, absolutely. And that's the thing, because this is how it looks like, right? You lied on me. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. I'm gonna take you to court. You lied. Oops, I did lie, but I'm broke. I don't have the money. What do we do? Like, it just fades in, it just fades into the wind. You get what I'm saying? Because she's easily saying right now she doesn't have that money. Of course, $50 million, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, it's like he's lost work, he's lost jobs, etc. But I'm not saying put her in jail and lock away the key. I'm just saying that the consequences should also fit in the same wavelength that this man went through. He lost a lot of revenue, he lost a lot of jobs. And I think it's really well in the interest of whoever works with her to have discernment and just to use their discretion as to what length they're going to work with her. But yet again, that's equals to cancel culture. So yeah, it's a what do we do? I get you. It's a pocket thing. It's not a it's not a judicial sentencing of murder or whatever the case. It's a civil suit. Yeah.
I think what I want to introduce maybe is I want to bring it a bit closer to home because I think one thing that we're all grappling with is a case like this is quite far removed from our lives, right?
Gotcha.
So maybe it might be helpful to maybe think about something that we do experience every day, especially in our country, right? Which is, what should the consequences be if someone lies on you in relation to something like GBV, or something like that? What should the law then do in cases like that? Because you do see that, a lot of the time, and it's becoming more and more prevalent that, people are taking advantage of the fact that they know we have a GBV issue in the country. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who cry wolf, right? And say this and this happened when it actually didn't happen, right? So I would be interested to know what the fellas think should happen in those cases.
It's hard. It's yeah, it's a real hard one, to be honest with you. And well,
you're making it hard.
Go ahead.
It's a woman problem. You're making it hard because it's a woman. At the end of the day, it's still a human being. Now, because it's a female, we must be like, oh no, it's fine. But then, it went the other direction. This nigga could have got jail. He could have been beat up. He could have been raped. A lot of things could have happened in jail.
Yeah.
That you come back from. But because again, it's a woman, we're making it hard to figure out a way of punishment. It's like, no, do the same shit, same ish. Because this is how the law keeps giving them what they want, because they're like, well, up it. Now I'm gonna say, well, up it. Up it, bro. Because like, I'm not gonna suffer. Because the law is on this. You guys all admitted it. Then all of you already said the law is on their side already. So you should know that it's against you 100%. The woman against you, the law, the system against you, it's all against you. Yet you are finding it hard to figure out a way of punishment. Hey, dog.
Yeah, because
I'm not.
And you know what? I knew that Martin would try and answer this one. you, Martin, you know what you're thinking already. You must just come out with it, man.
No. Listen,
you can't be nice.
Listen, I agree. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Martin?
No, because what I was saying, Tay, is I completely agree, brother. I really, really do. But, and it's not that, the reason I'm about to state right now doesn't mean I disagree with you. But I was going to reference the fact that traditionally, economically, basically, as far as we are concerned as a country, and even morally speaking, the reason why it's hard is because we've kind of been hardwired as men, as a society, to protect our women and our children, even when they're disobedient, even when they do the worst thing, right? I mean, I've heard of this example tons of times, like, yo, if my son is a criminal, well, he's still my son, right? That's the sort of mentality we can kind of gravitate towards women. At the same time, I'm not necessarily saying that, leave them be and don't punish them and don't hold them accountable. 100% do that. But what I was going to mention was the reason why it's hard, and the reason why I'm thinking twice, like, yo, I'm not going to go for the death penalty immediately. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I agree with you. I really do.
I just to add on to that, what you said, Stay, at the end of the day, you're dealing with a human being. And I look at different scenarios, may not be common to the issue of gender-based violence, but we're looking at an issue of theft. Let me take context to the girl who she was sent millions in her account, a couple of million, and she went off and spent it, and that was for her student loan, of course. But of course, now the sentencing gave her about 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Was it 5 years or 2? 5 years, someone around those lines. Of course, she'll do a probation period, because 5 years is not always 5 years. But nonetheless, what I'm alluding to is that she was given a jail sentence because she lied in overall and was dishonest about that money. And I go back again to the same scenario of that. If somebody lies on you, remember, if somebody lies on you to that magnitude, it's very hard to come back. yes, people might believe you, but it's hard for you to have that reputation of something that has never pertained to you before. You get what I'm saying? Especially as a guy. So yeah, in that respect, I think that if you're going to that consequence where, or to that extent, excuse me, where somebody loses work, loses jobs, and has a name and a title put to them in a negative tone, that person needs to actually face a very, very serious consequence. Probation, jail, even. You know what I mean? It's not even about being high profile. It's about you having to almost mess up this person's life in some sense. You know what I mean? And I'm not advocating for anyone who's, done wrong and they lie. I'm not advocating. I'm just saying is that certain people use this and weaponize this element, and we must be aware of it. Therefore, we must be able to hamper down that type of rhetoric and have a little bit of self-awareness and just see what's going on. But that's just my thoughts there.
Fonzo, so that example there, before I even say anything, like what was she charged with though for her to get that time? What was the
It was I think it was just like it pertains to theft, so I'm not really exactly sure, but I know that yeah, she was given that money, it was transferred to her account, she said nothing, but she went on a shopping spree. You get what I'm saying? So instead of saying but as well, you know what, but anyway, yeah, I don't know if I say this, we'll just dive off the topic, but let's go on, Ben.
Yeah, because in that case, then you see there's a clear consequence, because the charge itself is the consequence. It's a theft charge. So her lying just, was just defeating the ends of justice, whatever it is, and they prosecuted her.
But that's lying.
However,
it pertains to lying. Defeating the end of justice is lying. You're literally lying.
But the lie isn't the case itself. The case is theft. So in that case, the example, there is a clear consequence. She'll get the jail time. There's no question. Whereas in this case, I feel like, let's compare it to that Lady Zamar and Big Zulu. Was it Big Zulu, ne? Remember,
Java.
she lied on him. Java, yes.
Java.
She lied on the Drew saying, X, Y, and Z. And then in the end, I mean, both their careers were damaged. In that case, what was the consequence apart from the pocket? There is no jail time sort of consequence that can come up of it, because it's more on the civil defamation side of things.
All right.
Or perhaps it's also fair to say that, yeah, this might sound funny, but at what point does the law say, you know what, congratulations, you played yourself, these consequences will take care of themselves, so we're just going to step back and, because again, it's false testimony, and I don't think there's a law that states that somebody can spend however many years in jail because of false testimony. But again, especially if it's a celebrity, they can ruin their reputation. They can discredit themselves because of that false testimony. I struggle to find how, again, if it's not a celebrity, if it's a regular person, how do they get affected? Because nobody really knows them enough to say, okay, we're going to reject this deal and that deal across this country or that other country. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm just thinking about it right now. It's a difficult one.
All right. Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah. The difficult thing is, remember, there's freedom of speech. Like, that's part of the human rights. So your basic human rights, you can express whatever you need to express. But then the law does say that one person's rights can't infringe on another person's rights, which is again where then the right to sue someone for defamation comes in, to defend your human right. But the other thing is that it's not illegal, because that person, when they made those comments, they were just exercising their right. There was no, they weren't sworn in, they weren't under, what is that thing again where 10 fingers on the Bible in the court of law? Yes, they weren't under oath. Those comments weren't made under oath. So again, there's no like perjury or anything that you can charge for. You can only literally just defend your human rights in the civil case. But as far as like criminal, it's very difficult. You can't just like throw someone in jail for voicing an opinion or expressing themselves.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Oh no, go for it, Bo. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, I suppose, whether the law is brought in or not, there's always some form of loss. right? Like, I mean, Ben, you bringing up the Ladies on Minds Java thing, that's a classic case of nothing legal was done there, but they have discredited themselves either way, right? Particularly ladies on Mars, right? So I think the thing that we're grappling with is on a more social level, like what's lacking, right? Because the law does have clear principles in place. As much as we may have gripes with the law and how things are carried out, once a case is put forward, the law knows what to do, right? Whether they in practice do it properly and whether it's fair to all parties, that's a subjective thing on the case. But there's clear-cut black and white stuff, right? But now what we're struggling with is when you lie on a person, what happens to you socially? What happens to you professionally? You know, like how serious should we be as society in terms of what must happen to this person? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing that's really, really getting to us, right? And should it be a thing where what society must now open cases for you? Like what must happen? That's yeah. I think that's the thing we're really struggling with right now.
I was about to ask you after what you've just said now, and it goes with which one is more powerful, or in your opinion, the court of popular opinion or the court of law? Because it seems that either one has one more than the other, and one has to have one has more of a ripple effect than the other, rather. So in my opinion, so which one for you is a stronger entity, the court of public opinion or the court of law? Because at the end of the day, there are pros and cons to those, but one has a powerful strength and weakness, a SWOT analysis, if you had to put it in that sense, you know?
Yeah,
Hey
I
man,
feel like we have
no,
to
go ahead.
we have to transition that from law to social law, if that's a correct word.
Mm.
As Bo said, okay, what happens to your job? This is, you know, a lot of people live on their phones today. A lot of people live on their phones. So if, you know, and then there's things, for example, there's Black Twitter. We know everybody's business all the time. So if you have enough pull or status or popularity in a social standing for you to defend yourself and have testimony, because again, the law's not on our side. So what are we gonna do? Social media is free, right? And people use that a lot. Even the news uses screenshots to deliver news to the world from screenshots. So if they are going that direction, it's like, okay, well, I might as well use these platforms to defend my mother and stuff. Excuse me, I didn't want to swear. I just beat myself out there. But
No sweat, man.
who's on your side, bruh? The older we get, the more information we have, the more we realize ain't nobody on our side, bro. Ain't nobody on our side. And you guys said yourself, like, consequences, bro. And if there is no, you know, even a solid like women brag so much about what they can do to men. That is, for me, that's insane. They brag about it, like, yeah, I can get you, I can take your ish, I can take the baby away from you. I'm just like, what? Like, this is what it's come to? It's always been there. It's just,
Deep,
you know,
bro.
social media has now cool. If you're using social media as a tool, nah, man, I'm gonna use it, okay? Because ain't nobody on my side. So I gotta get the information. Fonzo, you know I've always been an advocate of if I'm in a strange situation, I pull out my phone and it saved me every time. I've been in a police station with my phone talking about, look, this person, okay, fine, but yeah. I say there's nothing we can do. This guy's got the evidence, hide it. And in my head, I'm just like, thank goodness I did that at that time. I don't know what air of suspiciousness came over me at the time, but something said, pull out your phone. You know, and I'm not big on politics, law, and all that stuff. But I'm not a fool either. I'm not a fool, you know. And to sit there twiddling your thumbs as a man so hell bent on the law versus like, okay, well, what do we have? What do we have? And most of us, Kevin Samuels, have gone to social media to go and speak about these kind of topics. For instance, you know, today's original topic was monogamy. Now these words, they irritate me. Monogamy, non-monogamous. And I looked it up. I'm like, oh, okay. So monogamous means actually to be faithful with one person. Blah 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 blah. But now them roles have changed so much. The women are the ones who
So twisted.
really put it together. It's very it's very important that we know how to defend ourselves above everything, and not to say to defend ourselves against the woman. No, everybody has the right to defend themselves, but we do not. We are not given ways to defend ourselves. We are not given any way to defend ourselves to the point where, you know, as you said, Fonzo, it's men's mental health month. You know, not a lot of people know about this to begin with. I didn't know. So that just shows how unpopular it is. And we've been deemed as a threat, as a predator for so long that the ones who aren't are just thrown in that basket, you know. And now we are aware of such dangers, you know, like so many. I'm like, wait, what? Are you serious? Just me? I'm just trying to live my life like a normal person. Yes, I get people in my species do what they do, but does that mean that it's everybody? Because there's women who also do messed up things, but does that mean that it's every woman? No. And no one is willing to see the thing. No one is willing to see any of these human cognitive privileges we have in a diplomatic, balanced manner. No one wants to view it diplomatically. We're just like, it's all about me, myself. I was hurt, so forget everybody. It's like, but are you on this earth alone? You know, everyone's going through stuff, bro. Everybody. So does that mean, and a case like that Johnny Depp thing can trigger so many people into making a decision that wasn't even valid, but because it was on social media, it triggered them. Like, nah, why didn't you control yourself? You know, and just look at it from a diplomatic point of view, because the person you're with didn't do that. But because you saw it with someone who was popular, somebody, you know, now we're following them, and you're not even popular yourself. So why would you even attach your living to that? Like, come on, you know. So yes, I was speaking about monogamous relationship, which was what the original topic was. I mean,
Now we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I'm gonna introduce it so you'll fly into it. It seems that you're very eager.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Spoiler alert. We got you, Stay. We're gonna let you do your thing here, you know. But let me introduce the topic for some context.
okay. Long story short.
Okay.
As a man, you need to have a way to defend yourself, because the law is not going to do it. And we know that women rely on the law for everything. They rely on the government for everything. They married the government. Everybody, like, they married the government. The government made ways for them to keep man underneath, because it makes business sense. It makes pure logical business sense to keep the man above the woman, because there are more women on earth than there are men. Women spend more than men. Women want things more than men. And this is good for business. This is good for business. So why wouldn't the law be on their side in terms like this? Because any logical thinking human being, the judge is still a human being at the end of the day. The judge didn't become a judge by not knowing how to be diplomatic. Yet they don't know how to use diplomacy when they're in that seat. So obviously it's business sense. Obviously it keeps the prisons full. Obviously it keeps paying the lawyers. Obviously it keeps making business run for the man to stay down or be put down or to be watched like a dog. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's hectic.
Sure.
Steve, the one thing, the law, I guess with women, they remember women, like at the end of the day, as much as like it's now become abused, women come from a place of previously being disadvantaged. So just like with Black people and white people, like obviously things will cater more to them because they're the ones that are in the vulnerable position, so to speak. So let's not forget that women are actually being abused out there. And I mean, they're not in places where they can fight for themselves. Some women are relying on their partners, and these partners are the ones that are abusing them. So at the end of the day, It's not to say now because there's a few bad apples or other people are weaponizing this thing, now we need to like just shift the whole playing field.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it's there for a purpose. I mean, these people, like, they are physically weaker to men. They need these systems in place. They fought hard to get these systems, but now they also need to check each other. It's also their responsibility as women to say, like, hey, you know, speak to your friends, speak to your sisters and your mothers and aunties, whatever. Like, start the narrative also, like, protect your systems that are there for you. Otherwise, we are going to get forced to like speak up and take these systems also if they being weaponized against us. Because as we said, your rights can't infringe on our rights. So if these systems are there to protect your rights, then look after those systems and make sure that they aren't being abused.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think it's a part of human psychology to immediately view the rest of the same thing, or different versions of the same thing as bad because one version of that thing caused harm to you, right? It's often been said, it's like an old quote: take the dirty or the rotten potato out of the sack, right? Take the bad apple out of the sack, because if you leave that one bad apple, it basically corrupts all the other apples. And that's true from a fruit and vegetables perspective, but it's also true from a human's perspective, right? It's like, I know, Ben. It's true from a human's perspective. It's like, okay, if people from, say, the King family, if one person from the King family, if Martin King caused me harm, then whoever is associated with King is definitely going to be seen as a bad person because, well, you kind of come from the same tree. So it's human psychology. But what you say is very true. We mustn't forget the fact that there are some women out there who are not only going through abuse, but don't even have a voice, right? I mean, this is why, again, I'm not, as much as I do want to talk about it, I'm not a huge fan of championing a certain belief system by using celebrities as the biggest example, because that's the 1%, right? Like, that's literally the 1% of our society. But society at large, right, is going through this issue, and they do need a voice, and they do need some people to defend them.
Yeah, look, nothing too different from the fellas, but honestly, like, it is the responsibility of both sides to actually like tell the people around them, like, just check them, like, check your fellow men. Women also need to check their fellow women, because I mean, this thing is gonna keep happening every day. It's gonna keep going on, men aren't gonna stop abusing anytime soon. The same way women aren't gonna stop crying wolf anytime soon until something is actually done, right? Until the women say, look, you can't lie on your man like this. You are just perpetuating something that can become very toxic, and it's just going to keep going round and round. The same way us as men, if you know that you've got someone in your circle and they're still part of your circle who is abusing women, it doesn't even have to be their partner. It could be a sister, it could be their own mother, whatever it is. You got to call them out, because what they say about silence, bro. You're silent, you're just as guilty as the perpetrator, right? So that's also a big responsibility that people need to take, right? And then again, just going back to how the scales have been tipped in the favor of women. Like, I think of like a prime example, like yesterday, you see this man's matric certificate trending on social media just out of the blue. Imagine you log onto your social media and then you see your matric certificate. Just like that. People are seeing all the subjects that you failed in matric. And like that is another form of abuse, guys. That is abuse, because at the end of the day, that's your personal information. And here it is being circulated. People are laughing because you failed maths lit, they're laughing at you because you know what I'm saying? So, and if it was a woman's matric certificate, the outcry would have been insane. Like,
Yeah.
people would have been calling for the man to be arrested or whatever, right? But because it was a man's matric certificate, it was a joke. People were laughing about it. So that further emphasizes how things have tipped, against men. Exactly what Tay is saying, that the system does not work for us. that you can be a trending topic, you can be a joke, right? Based on your matric certificate, no one's going to do anything for you. You have grounds to sue this person on so many levels, right? Like people are going to laugh at you. Yeah, sorry. People are going to laugh at you just for suing that person. They're going to say, you're weak, you're weak, you're weak. Take it like a man. It's just your matric certificate, man. Like, why are you suing this person, So yeah, just going back to what I said earlier, people just need to do better because wow, I would hate to wake up one day and see things like that.
Yeah, can I also add to that? And this is actually in relation to a conversation I actually had with Fonzo on a personal level. What you say, I love what you say over there, that people will laugh at you and say, nah, you're weak, just be a man. It's like there are some statements that we throw out there that can be very toxic, especially considering the situation that people find themselves in, that we see as normal, right? There's a reason why I'm so in love with the Kendrick Lamar track, The Heart Part 5, where he basically talks about, hey, we are championing all of these different things like hurt people, hurting people. We're championing these different things like people going to jail and selling drugs and, eventually getting killed. And we're calling it culture, right? We're calling it a popular thing because that's how we all think, that's what we're comfortable with, or that's what we've been told by some person or maybe even by society as a whole, that this is the right thing to do, this is the right way to live, right? So in the very same way, it's like certain statements like, no, but just be a man, is culture, right? It's like certain things like, no, but you would never let a woman do that to you. These statements are culture. And so I say all of that to say that change not only starts from the outside, as in telling each other, yo, please don't do this, or championing these activist campaigns or supporting them. Like all of that is great, but all of that would be meaningless if we don't change from the inside. Like if we don't really start to analyze our own mindsets and think, yeah, you know what? I find myself saying this sentence or this statement. And maybe it's popular to say, maybe it'll give me likes and retweets and views on social media, but is it actually true? Or even if it isn't true, or even if it is true, is it actually healthy? Right? Like the whole just be a man things like, yo, can you really start to analyze that? And so there are certain things that fall in line, right? Toxic masculinity, right? So certain things like toxic masculinity, like feminism, that fall in line with that culture that we really need to look at. And this is not just us on YouTube, but it's everybody, like whether you have a platform or not.
Like for sure. Got it. Anyway, I hear what you guys are saying 100%. And nice that we have all the fellas here so we can have like serious men talk. So you know what I mean? So it's really important that we do that. And yeah, you're absolutely right. There's so much dynamics to it because it's now coming to a point of where you want justice is a balance. Justice is a balance. You see it in the courts. They've always got a scale. The scale is a symbol of justice, if I'm not wrong. And that it portrays that the punishment fits the crime, or you need to be held accountable for certain things that you do because your justice, your rights are preserved, but at the same time the justice must take its course. You know what I mean? Waiting for the scales to tip. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, we also need to make aware that as much as we do have situations like this, we shouldn't, like Bo and Martin said, and share the same sentiment, deviate or be oblivious to what is really going on, because there is a serious problem. So yeah, man, I'm down with that. Actually, Wade was going into it. He was excited more than us. So got you, fam. Got you. More excited than us. Let's touch on this topic. You know what I mean? And as I say as well, like the previous video, like all my videos, guys, the thoughts and views of my panelists or the people that are on this panel do not reflect that of the channel. These are their views and opinions. So guys, let us respect that. And yeah, but feel free to also have your input in the comments in the comment section below as well. So yeah, guys, let's talk about monogamy. All right. The pros and cons of monogamy. Context to today's society, right? Where we live in today, we're living in the now. And there's always this agenda of pushing that narrative of monogamy, but we've always seen it throughout. We've always known that it's the highest moral compass when it comes to being with somebody. So I wanted you guys to touch on it. And I know Stay, you'll be the first to go in, considering that you almost hit us with a spoiler alert. No, you good? Okay, no problem, no problem.
I'll go in last on this one. I'll go in
Okay.
last on this one.
So okay, cool. No sweats, no sweat, man, no sweat. Anytime. So guys, your thoughts. What are the pros and cons of this thing called monogamy? And for those who don't understand, I'll give you the definition of the term monogamy. I got you. All right, for sure, Martin. All right, so let's take monogamy's definition, right? So now the practice of marrying state of being to be one person at a time. And the other definition is the practice or state of having sexual relationship with only one partner. So guys, what's your thoughts on that? What do you guys think about the pros and cons of monogamy? Let's go.
Enzo, you want to take it away?
I think Fonzo can lead on this one. I just,
Oh man, I will just give you a grassroots level perspective or thoughts about it. Man, look, if you're about it, you're about it. If you're about monogamy, if you believe in monogamy, if you understand, the true essence of being one with another person, feel free to practice that. You know, However, we are all different individuals. We are different backgrounds, different settings. So our belief system is somewhat different. But cons definitely will fall into the lack of cooperation from the person that you propose to have monogamy out the window if you don't want it. But I hope I'm not divulging here, but like monogamy just keeps you in one in one focal point. I don't know why you guys made me go first. Damn it! Like for real. But yeah, it's like so. So the cons, was the cons in being a monogamous relationship is that you would deal with certain you deal with the individual that you chose, and it also can be a con. It's not always going to be an automatic thing. It's not an automated system that there's always cons to being in a monogamous marriage or relationship. Some people have thrived in this position of being in a monogamous and have worked it and are still continuing to work till this day. So, but what I'm trying to say is it doesn't work necessarily for everybody. Yeah. So I just wanna fill it out there. So a lot of people, the more I see it like this, man, like just my perspective doesn't necessarily have to be true. Is that no, mostly guys with the more resources tend to be more trying to get out of that circle of monogamy. So either by way of having side girls, by way of having another wife if you're married. There's different by ways, but yeah, just my thoughts on that one.
Yeah, bro, you're right. I mean, people look at this monogamy and polygamous thing without actually looking at the history and the culture of it. You're talking about resources way back, especially in the African culture. King always had more than one wife because he was the king. He had resources. He was the king. It was granted, and the society was okay with it from a cultural standpoint of view. We must say that our culture has been very much watered down. And now that the culture has been our culture in general has been watered down, we accept it a lot less. And the people who do not like to participate in monogamous relationships do it without the youth don't understand what it means to be one with someone. You know, they don't get it. They don't, and a lot of them don't. And it's being popularized by obviously media again with TV, you know, and it was brought into our lives as a culture by things like Bold and the Beautiful, Days of Our Life, Generations. You know, we all know Brooke. We all know Ridge. Ridge had two girls, Brooke and what's it, and Taylor. They were always chasing him, and they didn't care. They were just like, "Hey, look, I want this guy," you know. Um, and then now we move into a society where we have so much options, and this society that has given us so much options and conveniences relays into how people treat each other. And we say it doesn't, but it does. As much as the kind of music you listen to will also give you the outcome of what you're listening to. You know, and a lot of people try to deny this. They love denying it. No, the music I listen to would never, and then the same thing they listen to happens to them in real life. You know, busy ignoring the inner self. And Martin said this earlier on about you, the person inside, conscious, making the right decision. You know, I'm for monogamous relationship, you know, one man, one woman, I'm for it. But people get bored very easily, or they get sidetracked by the options they have because of the world that has given them so much option and convenience. Um, and then it causes all these problems, which actually can go back to the previous topic that we were speaking about. I mean, Johnny Depp didn't get that woman out of the blue. You know, it started somewhere. And the mere fact that something starts, where is it going to end? Where is it going to end? Um, you know, so if you don't study the culture of of you know of people actually creating a union, then you're going to be lost in it, I believe, because I've had my fair share of being with someone, and I learned a lot about people in general, about human beings, not men or women. I learned a lot about human beings in general throughout that time. And I've been with people for a very long time. I mean, I dated one girl for 9 years, another for 7, another for 3.5. So I've gotten my experience. I'm not gonna say it's the dictionary of all information, but I can only use what I've got, you know. And I'm thankful that I was, you know, strong enough to come out on the other side to really understand, like, you know what, people people change as they get older, but at the same time, we're living in a new society, like a whole totally new society driven by new factors, technology, and it can be yours without having to work for it, you know, which really disrupts the union of two of a relationship where people, it's just one man, one woman. You know, like it really disrupts it. It really disrupts it in a bad. I feel it's in a bad way. You know, because once we did take it on, we didn't even discuss culturally how we were going to handle it. We just went with it as a human society in the world. We just went with it. You know, not even discussing what could happen, what can happen, what must we do in these things. Because honestly, as humans, we've become lazier culturally. We become very lazy culturally if we're living a a a, a pop culture life. You know, because countries where there's lots of deep rooted culture, it doesn't happen often. People stay faithful, and if they don't, they find a way to bring it back to the crib so that they can try and fix it, whether it's Muslims, Indians, or any country that has a deep rooted culture where they stick to their culture and they reject the Western influence.
Got you. Full agreement, brother, man. What I want to say is one big mistake that society makes these days is we look at these different positions or streams, whatever you want to call it, and we make the mistake of using that position to bash the other position and to highlight the weaknesses of the other position. right? Because we think our position is the better one. So someone who supports polygamy will bash monogamy based on their lifestyle, right? Or someone who is in a monogamous relationship who believes in monogamy will bash polygamy because they perceive it a certain way, and so on and so on. If I'm in a polyandrous relationship, I'm going to say your relationship is weak because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your relationship is weak because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to act like my relationship doesn't have weaknesses just because it works for me, right? So I want to look good to everybody else, right? So people always want to make their stance better than the other, which is fine. It's cool. But you need to recognize that as society, you're never going to escape cons, just like there will always be pros to something, right? So just because you've identified certain cons in a certain way of life, it doesn't mean the next way of life is necessarily going to be better, right? And the nature of relationships is they are naturally subjective, which means it has to suit the people who are in it, right? Which means that you cannot prescribe something to someone else because they are not you, right? I cannot say to Ben, you should be in a polygamous relationship because you won't be stressed about where your women are. You can just go to the next woman tomorrow night, or be with this woman today. You don't have to worry about the other woman. That works for me. It's not necessarily going to work for Ben. The same way Ben can't say you should be in a monogamous relationship because at least now you're going to have that stability of being focused on one person. Maybe that's not good for Ste, So we need to also get to that point where we respect the fact that there are other streams, other stances, and all of that. And it's okay. Like, it's okay for people to live their lives the way they want to live their lives. I will also add a layer to that and say, yes, Ste is 200% right that, like, the kids nowadays, they don't value the thing of a long-term relationship with one person and building with one person, right? And I don't want to also sound biased just because like I'm coming from a married perspective and everything. Like, it's just it's that thing of you've got to know when to, like, be strict about certain things that you want, but also you've got to know when you can adjust. And don't think just because you're in a long-term thing that you can't adjust, you can't evolve. Your thoughts cannot evolve. Your partner can evolve. You're not necessarily going to be with the same person that you met, years later. This person can evolve. So also don't be hard on your partner. They can grow and they can be whatever you would like them to be. And the same way, you should be adaptable as well. You can't be the same. Hey, we used to jam together in the club when we met. Now 10 years into your relationship, you still want to go to the club, until 5 a.m. Like, you're growing up. So you have to be ready to grow up as well, so anyway, like, the crux of the matter is, like, just we've got to respect other people's ways of life, right? And we've also got to see the benefit of, maybe it's not a bad thing to build as well. Yeah, I mean, that's all I'm saying. Like, society, social media, they have unrealistic expectations about a lot of things. Yeah.
I got a question. Like, does that go back to, when you ask somebody, maybe you've probably experienced this, either of you guys, you ask an individual as to why they broke up with the person they were with for quite some time, and they'll tell you that they grew apart. And that's in context, in line with what you just said now, is that we need to, it's always good to adapt and evolve to one or the other's way of changing things in a progressional aspect, not necessarily negative. All right. And so I say, like, is it, when somebody says we've grown up, why did you break up? We grew apart. Was that the lack of adapting to one another in a sense, or one wanted to continue, the other wanted to go the other way? It varies, you know what I mean? It varies from person to person. So, like, for me, I just believe is that, like, when somebody says we grew apart, I always have I don't know the context of what they got, but I always have my skepticism when somebody explains that, because in reference to that, is it a a convincing reason to break up with somebody? Is it something that you could take into consideration? But like I said, again, it goes back to the context of why people are in the situations they are, because we are not there. But the reason needs to be elaborated at the same time is to growing apart is not necessarily a somewhat a convincing reason, but it's also something that to say you'll find that that person adapted more. Because when somebody says we grow apart and you hear it from me, you're thinking by some way, you're probably thinking that I'm the one who evolved and not the other person. Do you get what I'm saying? So it and vice versa, wherever she may be, she probably says we grow apart, where she has grown mentally, I have not. It's vice versa, man. It's very tricky though, you know. So
I think I would also say that it could also be a thing of both of you grew in such opposite directions that it was just not sustainable anymore. And it happens, it happens. You're not necessarily going to grow in the same direction. It doesn't mean one is growing, one isn't. Like both of you can definitely be growing, right? It's just that, yeah, your directions are just becoming so different that it's really hard to try and reconcile you guys, unfortunately.
is it the lack of one wanting to adapt to the other and vice versa, maybe?
Hey man, even with the effort being made, I think like both of you, I'm sure you're both into it. You're both trying to adapt. But I mean, like maybe to put a practical example, if I want to be an astronaut and I want to live in LA, you want to be a civil servant in Colombia, it's like the two are never going to reconcile. Maybe you have a deep love affair with Colombia and you've always wanted to work in Colombia. You've always wanted to be a civil servant in that specific country. I can't keep you away from that. The same way you can't keep me from being an astronaut working for NASA in the US. We both want to be together, but we also both want those dreams that we've had. And it would be unfair. It would be unfair on both of us to force the other, to compromise on something that they want, just because you want to be together, So yeah. So just to answer your question, it's not that both of you aren't making the effort to try and stay together. It's just something else is overriding all of that.
Wow. Ben?
Yeah, I don't know, like my area of expertise and knowledge is very extremely limited when it comes to this topic. So that's why I'm also just I'm learning. I'm listening and I'm learning, man. But I'll jump in if I have something to add though. Word.
Okay. All right, for sure. But it's a very very not plain. I wouldn't say plain for the lack of a better word, but it's a very, very almost somewhat of a clear-cut kind of situation, because you yourself have been in a monogamous relationship where you've stuck to one partner. Therefore, you've experienced advantages of disadvantages to your capacity, and that already does not disqualify you from the conversation at all. You get what I'm saying? You do have your experiences and you do have your outlooks on the subject regardless. You don't need to be married for 100 years to realize this, but you just about understanding people in some way. You know what I mean? Especially with the situation you're being in, you'll find that you'll find that even polygamy might work for you in the next 10, 20 years. And we'll have a different conversation then. You get what I'm saying? So it always depends on the individual at the end of the day. Go for it, bro. Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah, it's just a quick question. Like all the fellas here, you're more leaning towards like monogamy, right?
What you say?
Oh, okay. Maybe not. No, I just wanna. Okay, Ben. You specifically, like monogamy appeals more to you, right?
Yeah, no, like I'm a monogamy type of guy, monogamous guy.
So what about multiple partners does not appeal to you?
The thing is, for me, this is something I realized about myself a few years ago, because I couldn't really explain like the pattern in my life with regards to relationships and all this. Like I realized that I'm actually I think it's called is it a demisexual? Like a demisexual, meaning that for me to even want to get into a relationship or get physical with someone, I need like an initial connection. I need like some kind of a bond to form first. And then from there, like I'll start obviously becoming romantically interested in said person. So for me, I couldn't see myself being in a polygamous relationship because I bond too much with one person to be able to spread my attention or my interest. Like someone is gonna get neglected and I can't fake it because it's just how I am. Like it doesn't work for me.
I just plainly have too much shit to do. So I just got too much shit to do, bro.
I'm busy.
I'm busy. I do share the same sentiments as you do when it comes to monogamy, definitely, you know what I mean? And it's for most men, it's an ideal thing, but it's something that is very few men will reach to attain. That's the reality. Very few men will reach to attain the position where you will be able to be in a polygamous relationship or polygamous marriage, whatever you call it. So I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Next thing, I'm busy here on the podcast crying to you guys. Yo, guys, I've got no money. I'm okay. Thank you. Let's just stick to. I'll stick to what I understand. Yeah, go for it, Ben.
So you said something that's dangerous there. Like you said, for most for most guys, not all guys, it would be the ideal situation. What exactly does that mean? Or like polygamy would be the ideal situation, or what?
No, just ideal in a sense of where guys would love to be with more than one woman and still have their main squeeze. That's what I'm going with.
So guys would love
hence
to
why I
be
say
with more.
it's an ideal. It's not necessarily true. Most guys will probably tell you now, would you kick it with two ladies that give you the same commitment as one another, but one has a different feature, blah blah blah, and they'll tell you, yeah, sure, in the ideal world, but they know it's something that takes a lot of effort and work to put into, but it's not necessarily something that they would act on. Very few percentage of men would act on it. Hence why I say that. Am I making sense? Yeah. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. So that's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I thought you were saying that the end goal would be in an ideal world, like the end goal is polygamy.
No. Trust me, man.
So like what?
No, we'd be having a totally different conversation if it was like that. But it's like the same thing when it comes to being a 10% man. It's not for everybody. Not every man will make it to be the top 10%. We've had this conversation before. So it's the same thing when it comes to being in a polyamorous situation.
Yes. And then guys, polygamous relationships, how exactly, what's the principle behind it? Is it, let's say, is the advantage to have, okay, let's say my one wife is like she's a mogul, like she's business minded, she's savvy, she can do the books for the I can't say household in this case, for like the corporation, let's call it. And then my other wife is very homely, she cooks those meals, she gives me the back rubs. So when I'm with her, like I'm unwinding, I'm relaxed. This is Tuesday, we're watching something, gonna have the 7 colors. I would spend Sunday with her actually, because it's a nice day to have someone like that. And then on Monday, yeah, she's my Sunday. And then Monday, it's time for the mogul. Now we go in and we're getting them, it's time to make that grind. So I need to go and get that energy from that one and, have those talks with her on that level about, acquisitions and this and that. And, where do we stand with the financials and things. And then you get the other one that's I don't know, outgoing and fashionista and, you know, like youthful. So maybe Friday I'm with her, you know, we're going to the club, you know, we're hitting it, you know, we're going out, we're having dates. Is that how it works? Is that the...
Look, I mean,
yeah, it's a matter of
yeah.
it's a matter of convenience and access. So yeah, if that's the case, where Sunday you're getting foot rubbing some seven colors, and then on Monday you're talking business, but you're still attached to that person romantically. It's something that is spoken among you. That's the conversation you all need to have, you know, about and an understanding of the time spent, because you'll find that the mogul does not have time to give it up on that day, but you know,
Yeah.
so it varies from person to person.
Or she's not warm. She doesn't have that warmth. You know what I mean? Like women who are like, you know, they tend to be like, she'll just order takeout and like, you know, like let's chow this thing, let's talk this thing through, let's get to bed. I got a meeting at 8 in the morning and it's done, you know? Like it's not like the other one who's gonna rub your back and ask you how your day was.
True. Oh, you were gonna say something.
Yeah, I was gonna. No, I definitely can't answer the question because it's not my thing. Like, yeah, polygamy is not my thing. But I can imagine that because we have different sides to our personality, that's what ends up attracting people to have like a wife for this, a wife for that, a wife for that, because you recognize that you can't resonate everything with one person, right? Like it's impossible. Yeah. So I think a person who participates in polygamy makes that acceptance that I'm not going to match with this person on every level. So maybe there's another one who I will match with, but I still want to be with this person, right? So that's why they keep adding, because they're saying, hey, you know what? I found my mogul, but I also want someone who I can laugh with. So let me have a wife that I can laugh with. I also want a wife who's adventurous. So let me add a wife who's adventurous as well. And like, I honestly feel like a person who goes into, wow, damn.
God damn. God damn, look who's in the building. God damn.
Wow.
Sorry, go on, bro. Go on.
Welcome. Well, welcome you properly. So basically, like what I'm saying is you recognizing that you've got all these sides to yourself. You don't want to irritate anyone, I think. So I think they see it as a safe option that I don't want to, because you get to a point where you can actually irritate your one partner, like, yo, baby, like I love the way you cook, I love the way you make jokes, but it would be nice if you could spice it up in the bedroom sometimes, you know, or hey, baby, you know, look, it's good when we play pool, but maybe we should jog together. And then baby doesn't like jogging, you know, so I feel like it is like a means to just keep peace in the home, keep harmony, so that you're not like having those little catty fights with someone based on personality traits that they can't change. You know what I'm saying? It's very difficult to change personality traits, you know? So I just see it that way, that it's convenient that you're not going to have a fight with someone over them not enjoying cooking, for example, you know?
Got you. All right. Mr. Mangaliso, welcome, brother. Are you there? Can you hear me? No, I think when he's on, he'll say what's up. Stay, what you say, fam? You were about to jump in on this one. What you say?
One thing I feel we forget, no, I won't say we forget, but no. it's hey, bro. There's men, there's women, and then there's humans. And men share certain traits, beliefs, and systems. Women share certain beliefs, traits, and systems. And then humans share everything. Humans share everything. And whenever I was in a situation where I was in a monogamous relationship and the person didn't want to be anymore, I started dissecting the human side of them. I'm like, okay, what do we both share? Me, I'm like, okay, cool. A, B, C, D. You guys, the things that you guys mentioned now, okay, what are you willing to put up if she doesn't cook, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, okay, well, if this one is business minded and this one is feminine, when you're bouncing in between the two, what makes you think as a man when you're in the bounce, she's not gonna want to replace me with another man who's also bouncing? Because there's a lot of bouncing going around in our society at the moment. And we taught this to women unknowingly as well. Again, society and media has played a big role in exposing the true inner feelings of cultural stance. So now, when she knows that you've got another woman, she's gonna be like, "Well, why can't I have another man?" Considering, women have their power, their rights, which is beautiful. It is a beautiful thing, and there's nothing we can do about it. Like, do your thing, bro. You know. But now they have also adapted the masculine mentality. They've adapted it. It's there. You cannot deny it. So they also want multiple men. You know, they're like, well, you can't call me a hoe if you're sleeping with everybody else. So why the hell can't you be a hoe? And that doesn't count. I'm not a hoe. What are you talking about? You know? And that kind of rhetoric in society is very dangerous for the ones who want to have a monogamous relationship, because you'll never know who you're getting with to begin with. This is why I always dissect someone to their human ability when things are going weird in a relationship. And for me, I break it down to boredom, because I know as for me, I never cheated. I always did my best, and how quickly you get to that paper sometimes doesn't depend on you. And again, nature starts to kick in where she's like, well, damn, I may have made the wrong choice because I did want an alpha, so maybe I might have to go find the alpha, because women don't think about love from a love perspective. They think about love from a survival perspective, and men think about love from a love perspective. But now that we're learning that it's not just about love anymore, we're learning this very quickly. Hey, man, you gotta have your paper straight, you gotta have your money up, because no matter, even after you sacrifice it all and make the promises, sure, they're looking in midair like, well, that ain't enough. And when, bro, time. And you're like, oh, but I promise you. And then we end up with the situations that we end up with. And they will never, really tell you the truth on why, because it's going to hurt your feelings as a man. It's going to hurt your feelings. And men also don't tell the women the truth because it's going to hurt their feelings. Now, without the truth, if we just jump into this culture, we're left with a lot of, again, hurt people. And now we just it's like, how do you create a culture without backtracking, where it comes from? Because when it comes time for that person to want to make that decision, Fonzo, you and I have spoken about this a lot. When people hit that wall, then you want to have a monogamous relationship. It's like, nah, but people are tired of you and the way you're existing. Because, the animal kingdom doesn't have the kind of feelings that humans have when it comes to this kind of situation. Animals do what they gotta do. If there's a lion and he's strong and he protects, all the female lionesses, they jam with him. Simple. And the female lionesses know this. Same thing with women. That's why they accept the 1% man with many women. They accept it. It's nature of anything that's living on earth, human or animal. It's nature of any sentient being, breathing, living. Women want the alpha, and they're willing to share the alpha for the mere fact that they know there's very limited versions of it. Whereas men are like, yo, look, I'm trying to have one woman and that's it. And she better love me because she loves me. And they don't think like that. They don't think like that, let alone are they willing to understand how we think. And we're also not willing to understand how they think. But when we do, we think getting our paper out is going to help us, when even the 1% still end up going to that same rotation at
It's
the
like,
end of the day. Even the 1%, that same rotation, like, I thought getting money was going to protect me, but now still, there's always going to be guys got more money than me. It's still on that guy, like, finished it. Then what do you do?
hence I go back
But
to
then
the point of,
I break it down to human nature. Like, as in, actually, you get bored very easily. Humans that get bored very easily are very sexually driven mentally, because the world is very much in a sex craze. We gotta admit that the world is horny AF. The world is horny AF, dog. And nobody's willing to admit it, but it's a fact. It's a fact. COVID lockdown had a lot of consequences, you know, and it's just gotten worse since. We gotta admit, it's gotten worse within this topic that we're speaking about since. Divorce rate went so sky high. Introduced by who? Majority.
but it goes.
That I'm not
Oh.
nitpicking at any specific. I'm just
Mm.
putting the facts
Yeah,
from
but
a,
you
from a diplomatic point of view.
yeah, you draw a very good point, because let's take and this is something I want, that's and one of the topics I wanted to bring up was we spoke a lot of the Johnny Depp thing, and with stay coordinating with what you've just said now, my brother, don't lose track, stay with me here, is that let's take Michael B. Jordan, right? Let's take like what's been trending this week. It's overseas, right? Michael B. Jordan, well-to-do guy, amazing actor, dude. Guys, like if that guy in his lifetime doesn't win an Oscar, I question. He's a freaking good actor. You know, I followed this guy since he was in his young days in The Wire, where he was like in his teens. You know, so either way, he's a good. He looks like he perceives to be a good guy. Doesn't get into any trouble. You don't hear much controversy about him. You know, he's putting out blockbusters everywhere and everywhere. Travels all over the world. Does his Hollywood thing, his celebrity thing. But now, of course, him, you know, being with somebody like Lori Harvey, you know, and now of course, now with the whole, of course, the courts of public opinion talking about the situation. I feel my way about it is that I take track record into consideration here. But either way, you think to yourself, wow, this is a good guy. This is a good guy dating this person. He's a good looking guy and he's got money. Where do I fall in in the spectrum? Where do I, if this guy can go through this, what about me? A normal average guy.
Yeah,
Over it, bro.
that's why I was going to respond to stay and say also it's unfair to say that you know, a woman is strictly survival or strictly about getting the best meat that's out there, right? Because how many times have we said that, like, for example, when a woman is unfaithful, it's not just because she got bored and she wanted to sleep with someone. We always say there's something deeper that went into it. There was some kind of emotional connection with the person that she was unfaithful with, you know? Whereas with us, we'll always be saying that, hey, nah, man, baby, like, honestly, it was a mistake. Like, that's our favorite line. No, it was a mistake. It just happened. Like, she just fell on me. She fell on my D. And then it happened, you know? And it's very easy for you to never speak to that chick ever again. Like, you completely forget that that person that you slept with or were unfaithful with ever existed. Whereas a woman can still think about that dude that she was unfaithful with, because there's a deeper dynamic when a woman chooses to be unfaithful. So the same with what we're saying with Michael B. Jordan, that he's good looking, he's got money, all of this. How the hell did he get dumped or whatever it is, right? It's because there's something deeper to it. There's more to it, right? There's more to the situation than we think. So it's very dangerous to make a statement like, you know, yeah, a woman is just, you know, just about the D, because clearly it's not just about the D. There's a lot more to it, you know? So yeah, in answer to what you're saying, Fonzo, there's clearly something that Lori was not feeling about Michael B. Jordan anymore, you know? Beyond his
can I push back on that, my brother? Can I push back on that a little bit, man? Like, here's the thing, man. When you look at who she's dated before. It's all over. It's all over the internet. You know, you can go and check. You'll see she's dated Memphis Depay, footballer. She's dated Akon's brother, or whatever the case. She's dated this man, P. Diddy. She dated the son first, then she dated P. Diddy after the son. It's a mess, bro. It doesn't look good in this case. And that's what I say, context is very important. So in this case, it doesn't look good because of the track record. Imagine you leave your son, you leave the guy that you're dating, you dump him so you can date the father. It's kind of weird, but you know what I mean? So it's also very dynamic in this case because like, who am I to judge? If that's your life, do your thing. But you know, I'm just saying this, is that when you get a guy like who's got a good head on his shoulders, like Michael B. Jordan, who doesn't resort to this drama, it does set a kind of like a bad taste in one's mouth. You know what I mean? He is showing it that he's okay. He looks okay, but still remains is that if not him, who is after him? Some CEO that she gets to push around, some director from Dubai or something, some guy here. She's not dating. All these guys that she's been with are not low bottom of the barrel or average guys, rather. Not maybe not this. They're average guys. They're not average. They're top tier niggas. They're top tier. So what does that say about the person or the individual? You get what I'm saying? That's why
I'm not disagreeing with you, but at the end of the day, we also don't know all of Michael B. Jordan's characteristics. We just know what we see. We don't know everything about him. We don't know the kind of dude that he is at home. We don't know how he behaves when there's an argument. We don't know how he behaves towards Lori's parents. You know, we don't know how he talks to people. We don't know those inner details. The same way we don't know how Diddy acts. We don't know how his son acts. We don't know how these whatever. Who was it? A prince? Who else did she date? But yeah, like all I'm saying is.
Future. We know how Future acts. We know how
Future. We know. But like, Michael B. Jordan, like, what do we really know about the dude? Like, he's a very private guy. So
justifying a hoe. I'm sorry. Yeah, right now you are justifying a hoe, man. This.
It's very okay. It's fine.
No, but guys,
I'm not justifying her. I'm not justifying her, but the fact of the matter is, only the two people know what goes on there. But fine, Lori Harvey, yes, prime example. She's a baddie. She's a baddie. Fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, you'll never know what goes on.
True.
I agree with you, bro. Like at the end of the day, like maybe he just wasn't her type. Maybe he was too good and he made her, because the thing is also people don't like looking in mirrors. People don't like, there's a reflection of energy when you're with someone.
Ben, you was with her for a year, eh?
Then
why?
He was with her
for a year.
Continue with someone? Then why bother continue to be with someone you know they're good and you're gonna hurt them? Because there's no ways you don't know. Ain't no way.
But she's not. Like she dropped him now. Now you guys are killing her for dropping. You're killing her for being with him.
Yes.
You're just killing this hand.
Like, let's take away Michael B. Jordan and Lori. This happens all the time. Good people get dumped all the time.
But what is the
people?
But what would that mean?
All the time.
But what does that mean about the person? That's why I said to you. What does that mean about the person who is in the
extortionate?
What is the intent? I'm sorry, but you don't break up. You don't get into a relationship with someone to intentionally break up with them. I get it.
But guys, in this context,
hold on, Ben, for 2 seconds, ne? They are underlying. They are underlying reasons. They are underlying reasons in this case. However, when you look at it, like I said, it doesn't look good based on who this person's been with and the circumstances behind it. I get it. Let's not blindly follow media. Let's not blindly follow them. But however, based on a track record, you can really suss out and say, Yazid, actually something doesn't add up here. You're telling me you've dated this bad boy, you've dated this guy, you've dated this footballer, but it comes to this guy who's not controversial. He's this and that. but you just decided just drop him justifiably. Like Steve said, in a nutshell, you cannot excuse hoism. You understand? You
Guys,
cannot excuse
whoa, you see,
poor
that's the
behavior.
thing. It's not hoism, because from what I
Okay.
understand, the main reason they broke up, apparently he wanted to settle down and she wasn't ready to settle down.
Then why go in the relationship?
So then that's
number one?
extortionism. No?
What are you doing? If you know that you're
That's
not
what
ready-
people do. Maybe when she went into the relationship, she didn't know how much she would have to give up. And then it got to a point where she couldn't lie to herself or couldn't ignore the fact that this guy is not changing his attitude. He really wants to settle down and I'm not with it. I need to like keep growing and keep whatever, because she started like a makeup line or something.
For a
Like
whole
her,
year, Ben.
as you said,
For a whole year.
it's
For a whole year.
Colombia and NASA. He
whole
wants
year.
NASA. She's in love with. She wants to be in Colombia, dog. She wants to be making her perfumes, chasing the Kylie Jenner billionaire status like Riri and all them cats. Like she has different goals, dog. But another
But
thing,
whose
Fonzo.
goals?
Let me raise you one. Let me raise you one and flip the script. Okay, let's forget Lori Harvey now. Right.
Okay.
Lori Harvey, take off the table. Let's focus on Michael B. Jordan, your good guy.
Okay.
Why is this? How old is he? This guy is
35.
approaching what?
35.
40, ne?
He's 35.
Okay, all right. So if he's that great and he's such a catch, etc., 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 why is he still single out of all these niggas out here?
No, repeat that. Can you repeat that? No.
You heard me. Like if
No.
he's a great guy and he's successful and he's whatever, he's quiet, he's whatever stand-up guy, why is he still single at his age?
You know what happened? I don't know if this answers your question, eh? Michael B. Jordan before, he was around white women, right? He was around white women. So what they said to him, and I'm not making excuses, please, Bo, the way you're looking at me.
We're looking at you, fam. We're looking at you.
So
looking at you, bro.
So Michael B. Jordan was around white women. He was spending social circles around white women. He was being grilled for that, right? Somewhat in the sense, of course, people always have to say something. That's how it is. But now, at the same time, he went and dated this person. Like I said, he has there's nothing that says, have you heard of thing where Michael B. Jordan is causing nonsense? You don't hear it. It's very quiet. He's a very quiet, reserved guy. You know what I mean? And of course, we see this person, Lori Harvey, her claim to fame is that she's Steve Harvey's adopted daughter. You get what I'm saying? And now in this situation, I'm not putting him making him a martyr or putting him on a pedestal. I'm just saying is that we're looking at a situation where an individual who is in the eyes of the public or in the eyes of people and people's opinions, a good guy, but he's treated in this way where, dude, it's 12 months. She was with the person for a year. You're telling me a whole year, you're lying. You're Jews at the whole year. You're just pretending to be something you're not. A whole year. That's crazy to me. If that's the way.
But now, who said she was enduring or using him? Like, what if they were just in a genuine relationship that just met its end because they have those irreconcilable differences? Like they want different things, and now they've come to that moment where they realized it. Isn't it even better now than like 4 years down the line?
I don't like.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Better
Go for it, Steve. Go for it. Go for it.
Better now than 4 years down the line, I agree. But my nigga, extortionism is a real thing. And the person who has the more power and access to extortionism, unfortunately, is, I won't say unfortunately, just in existence, is a female. P. Diddy, his son, already you crossed the barrier. Father and son, you're done. You do red card, maroon card. You're dating superstars. Wait, you're dating superstars. Superstars, they buy you diamonds. Diamonds aren't cheap. You're with a person who's known globally. Come on. If you were a normal person, I would get it. But you are with superstar people. You are in superstar places.
Yeah, those
doing
guys.
superstar
All the
things.
Okay. You know what the problem is?
Extortionism.
You know what the problem is? We picked out
Wait,
the wrong.
I ain't done.
Okay, sorry.
What?
But we're here now. We're here now, so we have to conclude this. We're here now.
Yes, Ben, you know what the problem is? Yeah?
No, Bo was saying something. Sorry. I'll come in after.
The problem is honestly, gents, we picked the wrong person. Obviously, if we're gonna open a can of worms with someone like Lori Harvey, obviously we're gonna go like this, and it's gonna end up like this. You gotta you've got to put the focus on someone who's not a serial man hopper, a serial hoe, as we put it, serial whatever, because it's clear, right? So this back and forth going in circles is useless because we already know she has a questionable character, right? What we should be thinking about.
How do we know that? Those are dangerous statements, like these absolute statements. You don't know. How many people have you dated in your life? Like, I mean, we've both, I mean, everyone here in this room maybe has had at least 5 relationships or at least 5 encounters with the opposite sex on a romantic level. Correct.
Yeah, but we're talking about the people.
At least 5, because we're talking about the Thanos content, right? Maybe even 6.
The people that she's dated. The focus is
no, but that's the circles that she's in. If you were in those circles, you'd end up dating those people also. Celebrities tend to date celebrities. That's a fact.
True.
That's a fact. Like, I can show you any laundry list of at least 3 to 4, 5, 6 celebrities that any celebrities dated in their history. Like, it's like if you go to a church, for example. I went to a church a few years back, and most of the couples were within the church. Like, it just people tend to date within like the context of where they are. Like, it means nothing that she's dating.
I don't disagree that at all. You're absolutely right. I'm not saying, hence why I said, back to it, all the men that Lori Harvey in the circle she's been have dated are high profile guys. She's dated footballers, rappers, the CEOs.
Futures, high profile.
She's dated high profile men. You know what I mean? But I will go back to Bo's statement and say, yes, I will go back to Michael B. Jordan and say, pick better, bro. Have a better mental assessment of who you're dealing with here. You understand? If you're dating with somebody who's known to date the son and then dates the father, clearly there's questions and there's red flags there. Like, yo, what's popping? You get what I'm saying? Yes, discernment is important.
All right, Fonzie. So then back to your other statement there where you said this guy had a problem with his image about dating what? White women, right?
I didn't say he had a problem. I said he's the public, what the court of public opinion came at him because
yes, he had a problem with the image. Well, the court of public opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, he was being called out for something there.
Yes.
So what is the first thing he goes and does? He goes and dates a high-profile black chick. Was she not a trophy black chick to get the masses off of him, to make his image clean up a bit?
Yeah, of course. Like I said,
we can argue that.
He picked her. Yes, he picked her. He must be accountable for picking that.
So who is using who?
I think she was using him, man. I think she was using him. He didn't use her.
How though?
He doesn't need her. He doesn't need her. Michael B. Jordan doesn't
need her. He needs a black woman.
Lori Harvey, bro.
Lori Harvey doesn't need Michael B. Jordan either.
Wow. Okay, fine. That's fine. I get what you're saying. However, at the end of the day, it's a if you want to put the equation there and say, okay, fine, this is the deal, then sure. But at the end of the day, Michael B. Jordan doesn't need her. He can go out there. Look, like, dude, listen, she deleted what? Pictures of him. Fine. But he doesn't care. He's like, okay, fine. My mental is composed. I'm chilled, whatever. I'm not gonna go on the streets like crazy. So
the way you're advocating, how do you know he's not downstairs at an apartment there, like buzzing her up every night? Like, we don't know these things. Bo said it himself. No, he could be tripping. He could be losing his mind. Next thing you're gonna hear next week, this guy was in a bar fight because he was drunk and in his feelings and shit.
He was being
you don't know, bro. He was being creed at the bar. No, he was being creed at the bar.
That's what I was saying.
We don't know if Michael Jordan is broken down. Personally, I do believe he is hurting because he is a good guy. So, why? Look at the case of Will Smith. Good guy. And he admitted it. He had a whole YouTube series, episode explaining his story, how he kept himself and defended himself as a kid. He was funny. It paid off. It made him famous. Good looking guy. Sharp. He carried on into his future. Now real life comes back at you full circle because you are still human, regardless of you being famous, or you're still human. The judge is still human.
You're cutting there, brother.
Michael B. Jordan is still human. I'm cutting.
Okay, no, you're good. You're good now.
Yeah, some people get off on hurting people after they break up with them, bruh. Like, and like females generally don't break up with you and tell you the truth off the bat. They wait for something to happen and then they use that as an excuse instead of telling the truth. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying all of them. But these super fly pretty ones that don't know how to face situations head on. Like, be honest with a person. And Martin said this earlier on, and that yo, bro, like, just being honest with a person, dog. Like, I remember when I was with my girl, the one I was with for like 7 years. The last year, I could tell she was not there. So for a whole year, I was like, let me be the perfect gentleman just to see if this person really is or isn't about this. I did everything perfectly, bro. And still, she rejected it. She was like, I'm like, but dog, I'm actually doing all the things that you said you have a problem with, and I'm doing them correctly, fully, and 100%. And you're still giving me cold shoulder. You don't want to be here, and you don't have the guts to tell me. Like what the heck, bro? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know a person the way they are. Sometimes you can just look at a person and pick up their vibe and be like, yeah, because a lot of people, I'm sure, feel the same way Fonzo feels about Michael B. Jordan and this chick. You, father and daughter, already red card. Bo was right. That resume already just no. What? Are you what? Father and daughter. But we forget. But one thing I always try to tell guys, we forget the power a woman has over a man's psyche. Women are powerful, guys. This is evidence. This is evidence how powerful a woman can have a strong hold over a man can be, dog. It is, dog, the flesh of a woman. Yeah, that's one thing my mother told me. She's like, hey, a man must watch out for three things: the things he sees, the things he wants, he lusts, and the flesh. Men will do anything for flesh. Men will go to school, educate, master degree, have money just so you can impress a woman and still not know how to understand, treat, interact, or whatever with a woman. And will not know how to do all that simply because his brain is in another head in his body. And then we end up blaming the wrong people because his brain wasn't supposed to be where it was at. I've had that, but now I'm making I know to make sure my brain stays here because after I took that loss, I still went back in the relationship and I didn't act the way I did the first time, and there was the same results still came. So how do you change the way you think, behave, and act with a person, and the same result still came? It's that person. Again, I'm not going to say it's women, but that person, because a man can also do this to a woman. A man can also do this to a woman and stigmatize her and have her, thing because of that thing.
When you say that person, which person?
Doesn't matter, man or woman.
No. I mean, you said you did something a certain way with one person, and then you did something completely different with the other person, but you got the same result. So which person is it? Are you saying it's you or the other person?
So the first girl that I was with that screwed me over, and I was oblivious to it, and I was, oh my gosh.
He wasn't ready. No.
He needs milk. I took the L. I studied my L, and then I took my studies to the next relationship and still came out with the same L. And I had studied and didn't behave like I did in the last one. This time I put my foot down. This time I said, look, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is where I'm going. And I still got the same result out from that person I was interacting with. I broke it down to a human sense. Like, okay, humans, but my man JV, humans are just like this. This is what they are. They use people and they bounce. And these people, now, the ones that I was with, I can only speak for myself, had been used in the past. So it's very hard for them to not be enticed by using someone who is good. I don't know how they do that. A good man doesn't use other people. A bad man knows how to do it.
So are you saying that they were the problem?
The ugly way, and he lets you know, I'm going to use you. A bad woman will not let you know she's using you, which is even worse. You there thinking about a booby titties. That time she's texting another, and we see it in all the small little things. She's busy laughing at her phone, all snickery in front of you, like, ooh. And she's like, no, nothing, like, I know that sound. When I do that thing in bed, you make that sound, and now you're doing that to your phone, and you're telling me it's nothing. But Goodwood should be.
He said when I'm in
I ain't lying, bro. I ain't
In
lying. And then
line. In line.
she,
Facts, fam.
and in my second relationship, I called all the red cards early. She couldn't handle it. She bounced. I said, then go be with multiple men. If that's what you want, I ain't gonna hate you. Because you've made it very clear that's what you want. Because me, I did not allow that pain to repeat itself on me. I just hope Michael B. Jordan does the same from now.
Mm.
You need to call the cat what it is. Because let social media and stuff split the opinion way too many ways when we know what we're dealing with. When we know very well what they're dealing. Diddy and Father, already Diddy's a freak. Diddy Charles, man, we know this. Then you come there with the son.
What? Yo, yes, sir.
We here now.
Here. We're here now. Yeah, we're here.
Unfortunately, good guys, bro, they fall like dominoes. They fall by like, oh, baby girls be on some. No matter how much money, they fall. I've seen them. I've watched them fall. Painful, painful. Because me, I also saw myself fall, but I took the L with a study note. I didn't just fall, G. I wasn't on a study here. It's about money. I'm gonna give my money up. Oh, it's because I didn't put my foot down. I'm gonna put my foot down. Oh, it was because I don't spend enough time. Let me give you enough time. Let me tell you in my time, but still the same result. That when you do that, that's when you will know how to differentiate who and what you're dealing with, the kind of person. I won't say man or woman, but the kind of person. And the kind of person that man was dealing with was an extortionist. So, like, yes, I understand, she's in circles of rich and famous people. She's adopted. So number one, she knows how lucky she is to be adopted. So I feel that also played a part in her, like, as in any milk.
Is she adopted? Isn't she a stepdaughter?
No, she's adopted, man.
Adopted.
Yeah.
Yeah, he adopted. He's got dude. Steve Harvey has many kids, so he adopted her because she's the daughter of the lady that he's married to. So he officially adopted her as his daughter, taking.
Oh, but she's a stepdaughter. That okay, but like
she's a stepdaughter that was adopted. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Before her mom ever hooked up with Steve Harvey, who knows? Maybe she wasn't ever thinking about the day that she'd ever meet guys like this. But then when she hopped on, it's like, yo, my mama dating Steve Harvey. Hey man, next time that guy goes to a BET award, I'm there. I'm gonna work out, make sure my shit on lock, make sure them predators are chasing me, bro. And she's
but that's life, guys. You can't like hate someone playing the cards they dealt.
Life, John, Ben.
That's what she's supposed to do.
How's it life, bro?
Eh?
How is it
That's
life?
what she's supposed to do.
We don't all have Steve Harvey as an adoptive father, bro.
Yeah, which is why you can't do it. But she does, and she did what she does because I mean that's.
People have the right to do whatever the hell they want to do. They got the right. I can't get angry. I want to do, but me, me, I'm the last nigga you want to fuck with. I wish I was famous, girl. I wish a bit. I wish a nigga would, bro. In limbo. Look, I'm not saying that this is what people should do. This is my decision on my own. Because I was screwed like that, and you didn't have the decency to sit down with me and tell me the truth, which is what Martin said in the. Hey, Martin said it so clearly, like, bro, people need to listen to look in their inner selves, and deal and be truthful. He said that earlier on. I was like, oh, dog, you nailed this whole topic, bro. This whole topic, you nailed it. Just be truthful with yourself. I stuck with my relationship because I was in love. I was in a bend mode. What Ben? You called it some kind of name where you don't know where you cannot be with more than one person. You just fixated on the love of this individual. That's me.
Demisexual.
Demisexual. But then look at how many people have fallen. Look how many men have fallen for. Men have killed themselves over a female, dog. I've seen men lose it all just because they got left by a female. Personally, I refuse to be that man. So I gotta get my guards up. I gotta learn, and I choose revenge if you're gonna do that to me. Because now that I've gone through that pain at such an early age, and I'm glad I went through it early, for it to help me realize that, you know what, guard your soul. At the end of the day, it's your soul, it's your spirit, and that thing needs to be at peace all the time. Someone messes with it in a way that just isn't right. Because nobody gets arrested in the spiritual world. When they break your heart, nobody's getting arrested, bro. Nobody's going to nothing. Nothing's happening to anybody if your heart and soul gets broken down to pieces, bro. So why not get my revenge, or why not get whatever I need to get up out of it so that I can feel better? Because it's hard to bounce back from that on your own as it is. I digress. Somebody speak.
Oh,
got you. Sorry, we're locked in there. We're locked in. We're like, yay. But what you say? But what you say, fam?
Yes, what do we say after that, bro?
Any,
Yo.
any
say something.
say some okay, let's go. Any
Okay.
last thoughts? Any last thoughts before we wrap up?
Very simple thing is like a very simple thing. Hurt people. Simple. If you don't heal, you're gonna carry on hurting other people. You need to heal. You need to face your traumas. If you don't face your traumas, you're gonna keep damaging other people, right? So yes, it's not something that's ideal, that you enter a relationship and you've still got those traumas, but it happens. Not everyone is going to take the time to go to their counseling, go to their therapy, whatever it is, and then think about relationships. A lot of the time, people enter relationships with those traumas, with that baggage, whatever it is. But then if you decide to enter a relationship, you need to take the responsibility to face your traumas before you mess up the next person. That is your responsibility. And if you are hurting the next person based on things that you experienced in the past, then you are actually committing a social crime. I actually take it as a social crime. It's a personal crime, it's a relationship crime, because you actively took the decision to enter a relationship when you knew you weren't fully healed as a person with whatever that you experienced in your life. So you taking that decision means you are willingly letting this person into your baggage, okay? So you need to find a way to protect that person. That's why people need to understand that healing is such an important thing. And when you're in something with someone, you've got to communicate. You've got to communicate all your wounds. You've got to work on those wounds, because then otherwise, you'll be hopping from man to man or hopping from woman to woman, cheating left and right. You'll be arguing with your person for things that they don't even understand why you're arguing with them about it, because you faced none of it. So honestly, people need to respect that thing of the more that you don't face whatever's going on with you, you can potentially turn someone into something that they never bargained becoming. I can go into something as a very faithful, very loving, very everything kind of man, and then now this person just revives me. She finishes me.
Yeah.
And then I end up becoming a player later on, or I end up becoming a dude who cheats left and right just because this person didn't face that trauma. And then now I'm just so hurt, or I just never enter a relationship again just because I'm that deeply hurt. I'm just forget this. I just don't want to date anymore just because that person involved me in baggage and they didn't bother to heal through that baggage. So again, in light of Mental Health Month, please, we need to take these things seriously. Guys, we need to heal. We need to heal, bro. We need to heal, guys.
That's
we need
right.
to heal. That's all I gotta say.
Get more sound bites here, man. Need to get more air horn sound bites for these sessions, actually. So yeah, let's do this. Ben, what say you, fam? I can't.
Oh, sorry. I was saying I got nothing too much to add. I agree with Bo. He nailed it. Like this, it's a vicious cycle, bro. It's a vicious cycle. And the thing is, people, as much as we can say we want people to be honest with us and show us their wounds and things, people never necessarily, don't necessarily receive that well, which is again why people are afraid to be judged. I mean, if Laurie Harvey comes to you, Fonzo, as guy number 6 and says, listen, this is my past. I father and son, are you not gonna like? Is that an easy thing for her to do? And then how are you gonna receive that? Are you now gonna look at her the same way, your beautiful flower that you met at the grocery store after church on Sunday, or is that gonna shift your perspective? So I mean, there's always, these things aren't easy for a reason. If these things were easy, we'd all be happily married. But it's being vulnerable to put yourself out there. That alone is I mean, if you can't face yourself half the time, how are you gonna let someone else face you?
Got you.
Facts. Talk to him, Ben.
Got you.
Yeah, that's me.
Steam, you good?
Yeah, man. Heal yourself, better yourself, and have standards. Man. You know what a toll gate is? If someone doesn't
Yes, yes.
buy it, turn around, go back. I don't care how much petrol you have. Buy ya. Don't get trapped with them pretty eyes, that nice skin, all that nice stuff. Buy ya, Joe. These creatures, there are many of them. There's many of us. And I'm saying this to us because I know the men in this group here that are chatting. Y'all are top tier, 100 good spiritual, soul-giving people. Y'all would never think about doing what the average man would do. But for us, for the guys who, who are good-hearted individuals, study the game, study these women, study what they want. If they don't meet your ish, make them bounce, attract them in a manner where they, oh, you're good, you grand, Joe, you're happy, you got wife, you got squeezer. Then, Alfred, you see what I'm doing right now with my financial situation. It's blowing up harder than I can even catch up with it. And I'm just, in my head, I'm hoping that it doesn't pop somewhere. But in the meantime, while this is happening, I'm getting a lot of attention from people that I thought wouldn't hit me up again. I'm just like, and then, hey, nah. I'm like, okay, so it works. The systematic ladder to alphaism works. It works. I promise you, it works. But when you get there, don't get stupefied by all the attention. Still keep that alpha mentality. Be like, oh, girl, fine. Sharp, 6 months we're in. What are we doing? I don't know. Well, then I got to be out because you're wasting my time. I'm sorry. I got better things to do. I'm looking for a ride or die. If you ain't willing, let me know. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to hate you. I'm not here to waste your time. Don't do that to me because I'm going somewhere to a place where you can take half of everything. What did Kanye say? We want prenup. We want prenup. Yeah, and leave your ass. Because when she leave your ass, she gonna leave her ass. You work so hard, bro. You work so hard. And I'm not saying women don't work hard because there's men that are out there to also take women's stuff. But you're totally strong because you're an individual of spirit of good guidance. If you know the guidance, stick to it. Don't let anyone break that ish. It's not being mean. It's not being hurtful. It's not being, no, you just want the same person of your energy to meet you where you are. What's wrong with that?
All right. Nice one. Wow. I know some good insight from the fellas. I couldn't have said it any better. And yeah, man, guys, much appreciated to all of you for coming through today. It was actually quite a nice session today. Great that we could actually unpack, definitely over time. We still got a lot to cover, guys. So just best believe that there's a lot of topics coming this way, and we've got a lot to explore, but it's good that we had just the fellas here today. We could talk some man talk, you know what I mean? Look at it from his perspective. Yes, the ladies are there, but we'll see them on the next session or on the sessions to come. But yeah, guys, I want to nonetheless thank you for all your time, for your support, for everything that you guys are contributing towards this channel. And yeah, we can only go forward and keep being consistent. So I want to thank you guys. All right. Until the next session. Yeah.
Do me a favor, dog. Please don't edit. Don't edit with a heavy hand this time, eh? I trust you.
I'll be like
some
this
things
time.
the last time. I'm gonna tell the people out there, man. We need to call you out on this one.
Okay.
You edited some very important parts on last time's session there.
I got you.
You know what you did.
I got
yeah, don't edit nothing out, man.
I'll put it I'll put it on the Instagram page. So trust me, it's still there.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. No, thank you so much. Bless you guys. Have a great great evening going forward. I hope you guys ate your 7 colors, had your food. You're ready. Cut Blanche is on just now. Cut Blanche is on. So we're gonna watch Cut Blanche and then it's done. Monday tomorrow. But fellas, thank you. God bless. Bo, good to see you again. Ben, Steam, you know what the deal is, man. But yeah, fellas, we'll catch up, yeah?
No way. Sure.
Peace. Peace.
Peace.